Today is July 18th, and we are talking to Boone about how bad the Yankees have been, and we're figuring out who's going to be the left fielder in August and September. Let's talk some Yanks. Now I can't hear it.
Recaps galore, weekly awards, stat lines, theme, and hot takes. Get your Yankees news from these two fine dudes. It's time for Talkin' Yanks. Talkin' Yanks with old John Boy and Jake. Talkin' Yanks with old John Boy and Jake.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Yanks. My name is Jimmy. His name is Jake. Producer BBD behind the dish, brought to you by SeatGeek. We've got our Bantering with Boone segment, and I probably understand that a lot of people are going to want to skip to that and listen to that first, because I would if I was you. Come back, because right now, before that, we're going to decide and figure out who's going to be the left fielder in August and September. We did this for the shortstop position in the offseason, and we had IKF at 15%. And then he was the shortstop. So we're going to figure out, at least we're going to get an option, Jake. How are you doing?
James Davis, I'm doing okay. Obviously a funky time in Yankee land. Bantering with Boone was honestly daunting with me this morning. I texted Rucco, I texted Curry, because I was like, hey, I'm kind of lost. Like, what? The Yankee fans want us to tar and feather him downtown, and for some of it, yes. Some of it, no, but I think it went well. I think we called out some things. I think Boone was a little less cheery, and rightfully so. And so yeah, excited to get to that. But we love a good pie chart. And Katie Sharp, no Sharp stats this week. I think she said she was vacationing in Maine. So we're happy for Katie. Off the grid, you had a good joke to Katie Sharp. Enjoy getting away for a little bit, and she's like, nope.
I said, don't think about the Yankees once. That was not a joke, just a piece of advice.
And she
said, I can't. My dad's a diehard.
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm with my dad. It might be even more intense than usual. So, but, our pie chart episodes, I think for the real Talkin' Yanks fans, have become iconic. So I think we crank that out in the first 10, 15, and then we'll get to B with B.
Yeah, let's do it, Jake. Did you met two Talkin' Yanks fans on the street yesterday? I saw that happen.
Yes.
Did you get their names? Do you want to shout them out?
They didn't want shout-outs.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. So don't even talk about them.
One was Sean.
Well, if they didn't
One was
want
Sean.
shout-outs.
One was Sean?
One was Sean. Nice guy.
Short or Sean?
Sean.
He was taller than you.
It was close.
The guy I saw you talking to was a bit taller.
First guy or the second guy?
I don't know. I didn't see one of them, so I don't know the order.
Okay. All right. So where do you want to start with the pie chart, Jim?
So BBD and Dalton put together a bunch of options. I'll run through like the categories.
Max.
Internal BBD and Max, sorry. Dalton, you're out.
Dalton, you're out.
Didn't help with this one.
Internal
man.
options, rental options, and then longer term options. So I think right away we have to eliminate some people that we just don't think are going to happen, Jake. Or right away, we just take internal and we just group it as one slice of the pie chart at like 25%.
I think internal is one piece of the pie chart.
But we can in the actual, I'll put internal on the pie chart and I'll put parentheses, and we'll like only put a couple names like Greg Allen, Bowers, Waldo.
That's it for
IKF.
me. That's
IKF.
it for me.
No IKF?
No, I don't think he can be.
The left.
I don't think they can. Like, I think Oswaldo, who's had a good 10-game sample. It's small, but like if Oswaldo actually got hot for a little bit, they could be like, yeah, well, you've seen what Oswaldo's done. He's our left fielder. Jake Bowers has hit. The defense wasn't there. Greg Allen, I don't know. He's got a little Yankee juice to him that I could see them suckering us into like a good Greg Allen stretch. The other guys, I don't think they can say like that's going to be our left fielder, like even IKF.
Well, but I think that I got to put IKF in the parentheses because I think like if it's Bowers, him and IKF split, they're a platoon.
Maybe.
What percent do you want to put that? 25 for now? Or is that like 33? Because I know they want a left fielder, but they have wanted a left fielder
right.
for a while now and not got one.
Yeah, I'll go 25. Bowers.
Okay.
Jake Bowers hit, and this is a team that needs hitting. So.
Okay, so then let's go to rental options, which I don't know how I feel about the rental options. There's Cody Bellinger. Obviously, he's having a great year, and he costs the most. So he's the most successful. So in terms of like what he has earned as a return is the highest in his stats on the year, and he had a $12 million contract. So it's $6 million the rest of the way. I don't think any of the money here matters, but he is the most expensive in both terms of like output and earnings. Then you have Hunter Renfroe. He hasn't come up on any of my searches or crossed my mind at all, but I guess Hunter Renfroe.
If you trade Show,
Renfroe's available.
Anything's on the table.
They're ahead of the Yankees in the standings. No, they're not.
No.
I'm so sorry. They just beat them.
So
yesterday.
sorry?
I'm so sorry. They just beat him.
Renfroe hasn't been on the radar at all. If you trade Shohei Ohtani, you should trade like everyone you possibly can. But Renfroe not really in play for me.
Okay, so Renfroe's out. Mark Canha. He's got he's not having a great year. He's got an option for next year. So it could be a 2-year deal if you value him at 11.5, which I just said and sounds like something the Yankees think is so cute. Underperforming for this year, and then he's going to overperform next year. So we have our feeler.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Mark Canha, is he even underperform? I feel like he's being Mark Canha.
Yeah, I don't know his career numbers, I guess.
That I won't rule him out, or I guess I should say this.
His slug has to be usually higher than 3s, right? No, I don't know.
Let's see. Yeah, it's normally the slugging's normally a little higher, but the on base, everything else is on a similar path. I won't rule out Mark Canha because Tommy Pham is on this list, and I would rule him out just because he's an intense personality. If you remember him from the Rays days, like I think if the Mets and Yankees are going to figure something out, I think Mark Canha is a lot more. And Tommy Pham has hot and cold stretches where Mark Canha is pretty consistent. That I would say the Yankees would go Canha over Pham and just be like, wow, here's a left fielder that can catch the ball and bat 7th.
BBD, can you pull up Tommy Pham's splits while we keep moving on? Because there's a fun story where the Mets weren't playing him against same side, and he was like, well, fucking watch this, and went out and crushed that side. I wonder if he's still doing it. But, yeah, Tommy Pham's a bit intense. Randall Grichuk. Can't beat him, join him.
1,000% in play. He's having a solid year. Randall Grichuk, I think, still plays some games in center field. So, like left field, he should be able to cover the ground out there. And I like that because the price tag wouldn't be big. Is a guy who's played in the AL East. He kills the Yankees. And your worst case, if Grichuk doesn't come over and look like an everyday guy, he could be your platoon with Bowers, righty-lefty, even defensive sub, because I think Grichuk has always mashed lefties, and Bowers has not hit lefties. So I do have circled.
Okay, I agree with you.
And we got the report on him this weekend. It's at least a little on the table. Tommy Pham versus lefties this year is an 889 OPS, and versus righties, it's a 779 OPS. So not a huge drop-off, certainly favors lefties, and his batting average is about 15 points higher against righties this year.
Okay.
So a little more singles and contact oriented. But overall productive against both.
For Randall Grichuk, a return from him, you're looking at like above 15th ranked prospect in the Yanks org, and then someone like that has started their service time clock but isn't like a gamer usually. Just like take him off the 40-man force, like McKinney. Like McKinney and Elijah Dunham, our guy. Sorry, Frank. But I think he's like 16th ranked right now and AAA, unless Colorado wants a way down the low.
Yeah, I think Colorado would take 2 random prospects than Billy McKinney.
Well, usually the Yankees would say you have to take a guy off our 40-man force. That's like because I did a whole deep dive of all the trades last year, and all the rentals included like a 40-man release plus a
Just to
prospect.
make that bookkeeping
Yeah.
easy. Yeah. Yankees probably to give them like a real good prospect because he's a $3 million a year rental.
Yeah,
The money's not
like
even a big
Jason
difference.
Shreve, like when they traded for
man.
I'm blanking on his name.
Voit.
More transactional
Gallego.
for anything, yeah.
Gallegos. When they traded for him, like, well, you got to take Shreve too. All right, so he's on the list. I'll put him on the pie chart. Do you have a percentage, or do you want to wait till we have like all
Let's
the
see
slices?
the other options.
What about Kutch?
It feels like it should be in play, right? But I have it not in play. He was DHing primarily. I know he's been playing a little more outfield, but it's still a big Yankee left field. And the Pirates still may keep him just for vibes, or I think there's other teams that would benefit from Kutch more that I don't really have him in play.
I also don't have him in play. I'm guessing he has
weird?
10 and 5 rights. What?
Is that weird?
Does he have 10 and 5 rights?
No, because he just
got to the Pirates this year.
Well, don't at any point in your career, if you played 10 years and
5 consecutive,
five
and you have to
consecutive.
be in that
5 consecutive.
5.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to trade him anywhere he doesn't want to go. I think he's got their respect. But
I think he'd be open to the Yankees. He's done it before, but
I know he didn't like that he came over, replaced Brett Gardner, and then in the postseason they played Gardy over him.
And he has a lot of quotes about the facial hair policy and all that. So
seems like he just is like, I'll stay away from that mess.
It feels like they already did that dance, and
he checked that off his career.
Both sides like ended up with a firm handshake, but we're like, let's just keep it moving.
All right. So from rentals, we got Belly and Grichuk on the pie chart.
And we should keep them separate entities. I think
yes,
so.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Long term.
Lars Nootbaar, I'm ruling out. He's got 4.5 years left. The Cardinals are not punting for the next 4 years.
And they love him. Like they just recently announced that, Carlson would be the guy in play. I think they even said when Tyler O'Neill comes back, he's their left fielder, so he's also on this list. I think he's almost out, and I think that's more so Cardinals being like his value's at an all-time low. We wouldn't trade Tyler O'Neill right now.
And O'Neill for the Yankees. I like Tyler O'Neill, the player. What does he solve? He's another righty that strikes out kind of a lot. Good glove. Fast.
Injury prone?
Injured this year.
He's been injured, yeah.
So I have him as like, he needs to be on the pie chart. If it's 2%, whatever, but it's a Yankees move to trade for a guy just hunting upside.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals have kind of let it known that Carlson would be the guy they move on from. I think well, then Tyler.
Then Carlson. Whoever was the report yesterday was Carlson, right?
Was the report yesterday.
Carlson.
So then he needs to be on the list.
O'Neill's value's at an all-time low. I really don't see that happening. It could.
And Carlson, the last couple years there, has just felt like they don't quite know what they want to do with him. He's felt a little odd man outy there. So
let's put Carlson on the pie chart.
I think so.
Carlson's in.
Big slice.
Maybe. Yeah, because the Yankees just would love that.
Switch hits and can play center field, so he can play left.
And if anyone values Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, that's the type of returns the Cardinals are looking for from all their GM said pitching. Give us all your dudes. And we need a plethora.
They changed their pitching philosophy, so they're looking for new guys.
Seth Brown, I'm gonna just rule him out.
Yeah, I think that's
Lefty
out
with some pop.
You want me to put Ramon Laureano on here just for your heartstrings?
Yeah, and I think it's actually in play. I think.
Do you think he could be the trade before the trade?
Well, I'd hope so. Like Laureano, going back, we've needed another outfielder. Although Greg Allen was kind of the trade before the trade. Laureano felt like he's needed a change of place. The A's probably don't even want to pay him anymore. That the price tag for Ramon Laureano, for getting the name of Ramon Laureano and what he could be defensively in left field, I think it's in play.
He had a decent stretch end of May into June, but he's been hurt. He's injured right now. How injured? He hasn't played since June 21st.
How injured is he? I don't know.
Yeah, I think his glove isn't what it once was.
That's just because his heart's not in it.
Took live batting practice Saturday, so rehab assignment Tuesday. Today.
He fractured his hand.
Boring. Okay.
All right, so he's on the pie chart.
That's the end of the list. Well, Lane Thomas and Soto, the two big names.
We're not putting O'Neill or Lane Thomas on there.
You're out on Lane Train.
Should I not be?
His baseball savant is like Yankee porn, and he's kind of been good, but you would have to trade.
Probably looking to sell him at a high right now.
You would have to trade real pieces. He's having a 3-war season.
He's got a lot of years left now.
Yeah, he's 2.5. You'd have to trade an actual package, so that's where I'd end up ruling it out. But
those usually don't happen at the deadline unless it's like Soto, 2.5 years. And arbitration team controlled years.
Cheap.
Like, we had last year, we had Marsh for Ohtani. That was very odd, but it did happen.
Yeah, I think the only asterisk caveat I'd put in there is, a lot of Yankees don't want to go pure rental route because they're done with this team for the year. Like, in theory, Lane Thomas, you would be able to pencil in for 2 more seasons, in theory.
Yes, unless any of the rentals, you'd rather try to go get him in free agency. Like, we won't trade for you now, but we'll try to go get you.
Sure.
Nats are, I don't know how they internally feel about Lane Thomas. I'm not in their front office, but would guess while he's at his highest value ever, they might be looking into it.
Maybe. I mean, he's making no money comparatively for MLB salaries and 2 more years of control.
I think you're saying a lot of things the Yankees love.
Yeah, but you would have to give up some prospects for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're probably looking at 2 under 20, under top 20.
Yes.
I agree with what you're saying on what his value's at, which is why I wouldn't be stoked on it. But
yes, usually those just don't happen. The Nationals are very much out of it, and the Yankees are very much buying, so that aligns as well. But 2.5 years are rare.
2.5 years, and value's an all-time high, and the Nationals don't have a plan to win like next year even. So
they're not winning in the next 2.5 years.
2.5 years works some when there's a salary dump. That happens, like Hosmer and stuff like that, with tons of money. Right. But all right, you want them on the pie chart though?
New CBA too, so we might see some different types of trades as front offices read those differently.
And do you want Soto on there?
I mean, it's a 1% sliver because it should be a massive conversation, but this Yankees front office doesn't think and isn't going to pay for Juan Soto. So
and we don't know.
Soto's at 1%.
And you got to put Soto on the chart because we're tweeting a chart.
I have Soto on the chart. I have Grichuk. I'm just placing these, then we'll maneuver them.
Figure out percentage.
I have Grichuk and I have Grichuk and Bellinger. I'm just 15% each, just trying to find a total here. Right. Carlson, let's see if he's at 15 too. Now we got 30, 55, math. I don't know. Got to get to 100. Oh, there it is. So this is where I'm starting us, Jake, and then you pivot.
All right. Well, sometimes our brains can come together to make these kind of things work. I guess who percentage-wise of the trade options, who should be your highest percentage? What makes the most sense to you?
Jake, before we get into these pie charts, can you tell them about your favorite underwear?
Jim, they're becoming my exclusive underoos. Tommy John. You're probably saying, Jake, did you wear them on your wedding day? I did. Saying, Jake, did you wear them to the Home Run Derby? I did. 2 of the biggest events of my year. They're my go-to. They're my 1-1. They're my guys. And I'm ordering a bunch more. I just ordered a bunch more. I'm being honest with you guys. Because I decided I'm going to make these my everyday. Why treat myself here and there when Tommy John could become my everyday underwear? They've sold 20 million pairs, and If you haven't gotten them yet, this is where the good news kicks in. You'll get 20% off your first order at TommyJohn.com/Yanks. 20% right now. TommyJohn.com/Yanks. See the site for details. There's a link in the description. And, this isn't in there. We did our first partnership thing with them. Got an instant message from Jerry Blevins, who said he's a Tommy John man as well. So it's sweeping the nation. They're very nice. Go get yourself some Tommy John.
Bellinger, because not doing what I would want. I'm doing what I think the Yankees are going to do. Okay. Is that how we're doing this chart?
I think so. The end result.
Most likely.
I don't think Belly wants to be a Yankee next year. I think he helps this year, but I don't know how much he helps. If the price point is okay, I wouldn't want to do it, but I think the Yankees see that as, because they think they're in it. They see that as a winning piece. He's a former MVP. They love that. Got raw talent, raw abilities in the outfield. They love that. Bader gets hurt. You have a center fielder slide over. Like, if the Yankees were 5 games better than they are right now, if they were in the wild card right now and 7 behind Tampa, I think Bellinger would be the lock of all locks. They're out of the playoff picture. So that's where, like, do you need a rental? So I think Belly's probably my highest slice. Like, if I put him at 25 as an individual, I don't know if I can go that high.
Yeah, I don't think you can, just because other teams are going to really want Cody Bellinger. Credit to him, man. He's killed it this year. He's even been hot out of the break, and he plays great outfield defense. He can play first base. Belly's wanted. Belly's a wanted.
Navigate it like this. Who do you think's got a higher percentage, Bellinger or Grichuk, out of the 2 rentals?
I would say Grichuk has a higher percentage just because there's a bigger market for Belly.
So if I give
very similar.
So 17 and 13%.
Yep.
Carlson, higher than Belly and Grichuk, 17 and 13, or lower?
Lower. There's more years attached to it.
It's a big deal. 10?
Yeah, I think you could go 10. The other counter to that would be the Yankees and Cardinals have trading history. The Cardinals have outfield depth. Like, they're going to make trades. Like, the Rockies could just hold on to Grichuk. They've done that in past years. So there's a lot of team moving parts to this, that the fact the Cardinals are trading and the fact that they've kind of leaked that this will be the guy that goes while the Yankees need a switch-hitting defensive outfielder, there's parts there.
Yeah. I have him at 10%.
Okay.
I put Lane Thomas at 5%.
I was going to put him at 4 to match the Soto 1%.
Okay. So that's 5% right there. We still have 45 to work with between Laureano and Carlson.
I think Carlson's a 10.
I'd go up on.
You're 10. In on Carlson.
No, I just think it's pretty on the table. These 2 teams have made MLB for MLB trades recently. And he's way more on the table than Laureano.
Do the Cardinals want Trevino? What was Boone's answer when he was like, sometimes you trade a guy who you're not supposed to think about trading?
You'll have to listen. I think that was for Glaber.
Yeah.
Laureano,
dude, I think
5.
I think we have to up internal to like 30%.
Yeah, I think we're about to up everything a little bit. I think we came in with our conservative numbers.
Okay.
So I think everything's about to get a little boost.
Little juiced.
So let's go Grichuk, 20, Bellinger, 15. That's 65 between the 3 of them. Internal, Grichuk, Belly, 65%.
Yep.
And then you want Carlson the next most, BBD. You want him at like 15, same as Belly?
I think at about 15 feels right, because that's a team that's going to trade, and he'd be locked in for a bit. He's the odd man.
That puts us at 70, and then we have 30% to divvy up between Laureano, Lane Thomas, and Soto.
Soto's 1.
Yeah. Do we have another chart that just says, don't know?
There should be
No
a
slice?
cursory
10%
2%
mystery.
other. Or whatever.
10% mystery man. Put Aaron Hicks if you really want to piss people off.
How about that?
How about that?
You want to give Kutch a 1%?
Sure.
Yeah.
I would have Laureano as like a 5, and then I would just turn all the other faucets up a little bit more to get to 100.
You want Lane Thomas at 4 still?
Yeah.
Okay, so that has us at, I don't know, 70, 81 right now. And 19 to spread around.
Turn up internal another 3. Turn up Grichuk and Belly another 2.
Yeah, maybe they're each up. We have 19 more and give each of them 5.
I'll give
more
McCutchen 5 more. He was a Yankee.
6 for McCutchen then. Did we just do it? 2, 6 is 10.
So we need
I don't
9
know. Let me
more.
just see what the pie chart looks like. It's funnier if it doesn't add up.
And then do whatever's rest as mystery man. We'll Heyman this shit.
All right, so we have, I'm trying to count now because these are numbers I'm not good at counting. 33 plus 22. 33 plus 22, riveting,
22,
plus
55,
17,
17
plus
72.
15, plus
That's
5, plus
87.
4, plus 1, plus 6. We're at 103. So we actually need to take 3 away.
That's easy.
Take 3 away
those
from Kutch, bring him back down to 3.
Brutal, but yes.
Okay, I'm downloading the PNG and I'll slack it to you, Beebs, and you can post it on the whole world to see. Great job. That is official. So,
Comment on
did
our
it.
social media. What you like next? Banter.
I'm gonna text it to you guys right now. Get eyes on it and let me know when you see the visual slices representing the options. Does it still feel good? Because we have internal way high, which is sad.
Well, you don't
it's
want the
ours.
Yankees to trade. I mean, I think a lot of people are. And how often has Cashman's wanted a left fielder for a year and a half? Said the market's not there. So
Yeah.
I wonder how different this would look 1 week ago, but
Banter and Boone is brought to you by Vizio. Vizio has award-winning TVs and soundbars at insane prices. We're talking big 4K screens under $500, sharp contrast and smooth 120 FPS motion that can keep up with a four-seamer. Hello. Vizio Watch Free Plus also offers MLB Network totally free right out the box. Vizio, they've always been the MVP of value, premium performance for surprisingly low prices. Head on over to Vizio.com to check out how you can elevate your viewing experience all season long. Whatever your budget or size of your home, Vizio has you covered. Perfect TV and soundbar combos. Click the link in the description and elevate your audio-visual experience with Vizio.
Let's go.
Boone, how you doing? Joining us from, are you in Anaheim or are you in LA? Drive
We're
over.
we're in Orange County, somewhere in Orange County. Dana
Okay.
Point. Yeah, Dana Point.
Home base for you.
Yep, a little bit.
Nice. Coming off some rough ones. If we got to just like jump into the vibes of it all.
Yeah.
Some at some people, I know that you guys probably don't view this window the same as fans do because we're feeling a little less confident than I think you guys in the team, but a pretty crucial window for like what is the team going to be? What kind of trade should we make? What help will help in the Rocky series, and then the last couple games or last 2 games too is pretty tough. I mean, how are you still as confident as you ever were? Will that start to waver ever, or does that only come upon reflection?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely confident. You know, and especially when you're going through a stretch where, you know, you've had a month where, you know, it hasn't been great. And, you know, we haven't consistently put a lot of runs on the board. And then in the midst of that, you have, you know, 3 losses, you know, going back to the final one of the Cubs series where, you know, you got leads late and you lose them. especially as good as our bullpen's been, so when you're kind of in that snapshot of time, those are tough ones to, certainly swallow and in the moment. But you got to keep pressing forward and knowing that, not only are we going to get some people back, some things, obviously, Rodon being back and, Sevi going out and having a good outing last night, and, Peraza coming up and looking like that in his first full game. I mean, and then it's still about, unlocking a couple other guys, that we got to really get rolling, and trust the right conversations are happening. And, even with great players, they're going to look back on their careers and, have a stretch where, man, it was tough. And they'll look back and say, yeah, 2023 and June and July just was, it was a grind for me. And, we gotta help pull them out of that. And I am confident that can happen. But we just, the game is littered with, because obviously all our guys are getting the questions now every day. And I'm certainly getting those questions every day. You're in last place, and, the context is important there. Like, we are, but we're not 10 games under. We're not 15 games under. We're not 10 games out of playoff. We have to climb, and we understand that. And we have to play solid baseball here for the next 2+ months to give ourselves a chance.
Yeah. But you also have to lean on other teams.
It's not overcoming. It's not overwhelming. Like, if we go play well, we'll get to where we need to go and where we want to go. And you look at teams even recently, the game is littered with teams you thought were dead and buried in way worse positions than we are right now. Whether you go back a year and it's the Phillies, whether it's the Braves the year before, whether it's the like all these teams that were under 500 or even skidding at the finish line, have been able to go on runs. So, we understand we haven't put ourselves in that position yet to be one of those teams. Even look at us in 21. We're in a similar situation where, we're kind of scuffling offensively. We're hanging around that 500, and we kind of took off in the month of August and went on a run to get ourselves into the playoffs. So it's there for the taking. It's there for us to do. I do feel like we have the people to get it done. Obviously, it's going to be important to get some more people back and believe that's happening. But now is not the time to, get caught up in the noise of it. We're in the fight, and it's hard right now, and we got to just keep those kind of blinders on and preparing our butts off each day to go out and turn this around. And, you look up and all of a sudden you've won 10 out of 12, and we need to get to that point.
Yeah. I guess my brain wants to know if there was just a slighter level of acceptance of like, shit, it's not all in front of us anymore. We could sweep the Rays and sweep the Orioles and still come in third in the division because there's not enough games left against both those teams. So like, it's not fully in your hand. You guys could
the playoffs are in our hands. Obviously,
but I mean, we can't aspire for a wild card, right? I mean,
no, of course not. But we're not aspiring for, to gain. We're aspiring to be the best we can be, and if that happens, we'll put ourselves in a position to do what we got to do at the end. Yes, we've put ourselves from a division standpoint. It's certainly possible, but we've definitely put ourselves in a difficult position. But what I'm saying is we very reasonably control our own destiny to get into the playoffs. And that's going to be with more consistent play, in the final couple months of the season.
Yeah, I guess the 21 comparison is scary for Yankee fans because that's not a team that we remember with the most heartstrings. I guess, a lot of the big guys, I mean, Stanton, he's shown us the spark recently, and there's, we've seen Stanton be streaky before. Even DJ, it feels, he seems a little more dialed, and let's see where DJ's at. We're in a tough place with Riz, man. He's a guy that won Yankees fans over, pretty much instantly with the first base play and who he is in the baseball community. We're coming on, I think it's like 43 games, and it's in lockstep with the play where he got banged up with Tatis, that it doesn't feel like Anthony Rizzo. And the other thing with that is DJ last year, there was the hidden injury that gets revealed later. Like, is there anything else going on here? And he's starting to show frustration too, so that's got to be something that you're keeping an eye on in a big way.
Yeah. The one thing I would say with Riz again is he is healthy. Okay. Now I think you can go back maybe and look at that Nick injury that maybe launched him into being a ticked off mechanically, and that's literally what I think it is right now. So maybe it led into something being a ticked off mechanically that maybe put him in a bad habit or something. But I do believe he will right the course. It's been longer than he's probably ever experienced, but I think it's an example of one of those that, all these guys and all the players, you kind of look back at your career and you'll see years where, especially the good players, where they went through a weird season of a couple months where they struggled more than they ever did. It's going to happen. And this may be that time. Well, he'll look back, but there's no question in my mind that he can and will pull himself through this. He's just got to, man, it's a grind for him right now. But I think the answer in the comparison to DJ, I understand the question. I do think Riz is absolutely healthy. I do think it's maybe something that coming back from that put him into a little bit of a, threw him off a little bit mechanically initially, and that's what he's working to get out of.
Okay.
With last night's game and the last two games, or I forget, the Rockies game and last night's game, and I asked this question a month ago, I think, or around then. It was too early for you, but Wandy was up in the bullpen warming. I know Wandy had thrown 2 in a row. Canely had thrown 2 in a row.
Wandy wasn't up.
I thought Wandy got up in extras. No, I thought I saw the sleeve come off.
No.
Okay, then that's on me.
That was Jake's. Yeah,
it's getting late on the East Coast.
Yeah, anyway. Wandy we were staying away from yesterday, and Tommy and Hamilton, and threw a couple innings the day before. Clay we were going to use in a closing situation.
So when do those get a little looser? Like, we're not in that time for you yet. I don't know if I can watch the last guy in the bullpen blow games close anymore. You know what I mean? It's for me. I'm feeling a little more dire than that. Like if they are.
Clay Holmes was in a 3 in a row yesterday in a save scenario.
Okay, so that's one.
It's tough to bring Clay into a tie game on the road for a third day in a row where you're going to now lose him for a couple days, probably regardless. And the reality is, like, I understand your dire plight, and we are too, and it's why we're making more guys available. But we're getting nowhere with 2.5 months remaining in the season if we put these guys in a bad spot. And the reality is Nick Ramirez came in and dealt last night. Like, two long innings coming off a day where he pitched the day before, and gave up a soft single with the, ghost runner at second base with 2 outs. So I hear you. I went to Clay the day before in the 8th inning to try and go for a 4-out save. Doesn't work out, So, these guys are all, it's going to happen even with what's been obviously a really good bullpen for us. And when you're going through a tough time and you lose a couple tough games, it's more of a gut punch. But that's part of the 162, man. It ain't all good.
The good bullpen is wearing off. Like, April and May, you as a top 5 bullpen. Currently, you're top 5 in WAR, and a lot of the stats. The Yankees bullpen is 16th in WAR as we stand. Like, it has been a steep decline. So I don't know how much longer. If we go another 2 weeks of this, the bullpen's been really good. Well, April and May, it was really good. So
Mhm.
that is wearing down. I mean, Clay's been really good
Yeah.
lately. Canely was until the last appearance. But other than that, everyone's kind of struggling. There's not many we're turning to with confidence last 3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through, because I don't think your answer is going to change at all, but the morning after, I know you get asked because you guys intentionally walk Ohtani and then you don't. Hey, Kinger throws a nice changeup in the dirt. Ohtani swings over the top of it. We never talk about it, right? But it's not what happens. I guess walk me through the thought process, or if you have thought about it overnight and it's changed at all, but the difference between, okay, we're walking him in the 5th and we're not walking him in the 7th.
Well, we're walking him in the 5th in a 0-0 game, where I was just going to, and with 2 outs, I was just going to take my shot with, even though Moniak's been really good and, hitting 330, and that's a tough matchup to bring the walk into the play. But I just felt like in the middle of that game, I didn't want, 3 runs going on the board where we're tied. So 2 runners were on. Obviously, what Ohtani's going through this season. And then in the 7th, we got a 2-run lead. And I think it's important to note what Moniak's doing this year. He's putting together a pretty good season. So I didn't want to just throw the tying run on base. Not to mention, it's not runner on second tying run. It's moving another runner up to second base. He doesn't homer 90-something% of the time, and we're obviously pitching carefully there to him and got count leverage on him and didn't execute. So, I mean, are you saying you would have walked him there?
I would have.
I'm assuming you would have walked him to lead off the 9th when he struck out too.
It's a discussion. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty scared of that guy right now. He's hitting home runs like crazy. And I also just think if you got it, you look at the Angels and you say, all right, if he beats us, it's our fault. If anyone else, it's our fault. He's going to beat you. That's what he's doing right now, is beating teams. And obviously doesn't homer all the time, but he's in a stretch right now where it's crazy.
Where he's homering 10% of the time. I know it is crazy.
But if that happens and the game's tied, well, that's the risk management of it.
Yeah. And if we walk him and we pitch to a 330 hitter and he pitches and, or if we walk him to lead off the 9th, you would, if you're speaking like this, we should have walked him to lead off the 9th when he struck out and put the winning run on. So look, I hear you, but
the result's always going to be what changes minds and all that. But if you're asking, yes, I would have walked him before that at bat. It didn't feel like a great time was going to happen. And I just remember his first at bat against King when he homered. And for me, that muscle memory of guys standing in, and I know Kinger told a story of he threw him his 3rd pitch the first time he faced him because he didn't want him to, he thought he crushed his sinker. And then they had to go back, and there's it was like an Athletic article written about that matchup. And I was thinking, man, I don't want this to get into part 2.
When you manage the team, you can make that call then.
Well, I won't have no one to manage the team. For team, the management of the team. I've reached my end goal.
All right.
For Peraza managing the team, he again, we laugh because people know we're talking to you and call up Peraza, and that's not your gig. You're the manager of the team. You make the lineups. Peraza's in the leadoff spot, and all Yankee fans turn our heads, and we go, okay. You have to understand, we've done this with Big CC through the years was confused at our angle a little bit. We're fans, and I've done this with you before. This is the equivalent. The Eagles draft Kenneth Gainwell a couple years back, and they're saying, hey, put Gainwell in, and then he runs for $150. To have Peraza, he's in AAA. And then he's in the leadoff spot. You have to understand it's confusing as a fan that it's how can this guy have the talent to be the leadoff hitter for the New York Yankees, not be present, and now he's up here. And by the way, we get to play the result a little bit because it was 5 of the best at-bats I've seen by a Yankees hitter in this month. But walk us through that, and I know the part Jimmy wants to add is that in the minor leagues, I think he's only played third base twice, Jim. Am I getting that right? And now
That's from me, but yes.
Now he's played it 7 times at the major league level. So I guess bring me through all of that, because it's exciting but confusing from the fan perspective.
Yeah, but I would even, Boone, if it's easier, just make it bigger than this moment, because we saw it last year where Andújar was down. He'd come up, he'd bat 4 or 5. So the way that our brains view the lineup is like good, and then bad or whatever it is. And then the way you guys view the lineup is much different than that, where you have like slots that you seem to interject in. So is it different? Or is it odd that a guy would just get called up and then automatically lead off?
Hey man, we've been scuffling for a month to find that offensive consistency. So part of that is kind of looking for a spark there. Part of it is, having like Riz or Bader, kind of struggling to really get it locked in and stuff. And DJ being out of the lineup last night moved some people around. And I just wanted to beef up the middle of the order and hoping we could get a little spark there at the top with Oswald. So, and those are as good of at bats as I've seen, from him. I mean, those were high quality at bats. I mean, it was really, really exciting to see. And look, opportunity knocks. So more than anything, it was, hey, let's get a little bit of a spark. We had DJ down. Obviously, Judgy's not in the lineup. Bader's been kind of working to find his way. So I'm trying to beef up the middle a little bit. Glaber's been having really good at bats now for a while. Kind of want to get him in that middle area. Big G starting to feel like have those at bats. I thought his at bat last night where he flew out to the wall was such a high quality at bat. So more than anything, a little bit of a spark, like, hey, go get him. Coming off of the Rockies game where when he arrived to us, came in late in that game. I thought he got 2 great swings off, fouled a pitch off, then smoked the ball back through the middle late in that game, and then carried that right into last night. And look, he's a young, talented player that we feel like is emerging and getting better. But honestly, a little bit of a snapshot in time of what we're going through and saying, hey, give him a shot and go spark us.
The offense is great. The base running was a little overzealous, but I mean, he's coming up with things to prove and got his hair on fire. That's
Look,
been
I mean, that one's tough, and obviously, I think he kind of slipped there too a little bit, which can happen. But he's a really good base runner, and he'll be a little bit of a game changer for us, especially if he can get on base like that, because he can really run and he can do a lot of the things Anthony does, from a base running standpoint.
And you're comfortable with his third base defense at third?
I'm comfortable with him in the infield wherever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he made a play in Colorado when we threw him in the game right away, coming in on a ball that's like, ooh, that's a different level athlete going after that one. So yeah, I mean, not a ton of experience there, but enough that I feel comfortable having him out there.
I don't know how much you can talk about the trade deadline and upcoming action at all, but there's been reports out from Feinsand and all the reporters about what the Yankees want, what the Yankees are looking for. And I was just, if you could speak on your involvement in early chats with Cashman right now. I think the most recent report was kind of left fielder, and Cashman said that as well. So that's not a report. That's directly from Cashman. Looking for MLB left fielder. Back end bullpen help was reported. Catcher, which was a kind of a shocking or surprising report. Can you speak on like needs, looks, desires, like what positions we're going, rentals, non-rentals, anything?
Yeah. So my involvement right now with the trade line is very minimal. Like Cash will update me as he starts to get some traction on certain things. We had kind of our coaches meeting, before the All-Star break on that last homestand, to where, he's kind of front office kind of takes the pulse from the coaches. What are we seeing with certain guys within our own clubhouse? what do we think? Kind of getting the feel from everywhere in the organization about what we need. I would say because you don't know what's in the end going to be available, who's selling, who's not, who's buying, all those things that really fluctuate a lot here these final 2 weeks. You're trying to improve your club. And so that may come from an obvious area where you're targeting some guys in certain years, but it may come from somewhere else where, it may be you end up moving somebody on your own team that you don't necessarily expect because something pops up. So I know Cash and the front office are having those conversations, obviously in earnest, and a lot of those conversations right now, but it's an ever-changing landscape, and you never know where you might get the connection. It may be an obvious, okay, we're looking for this position, this type player, or it may come in a more nuanced kind of way. And then it obviously takes, a couple teams to tango.
Well,
is there a position that the coaches are asking for? I mean, you don't have to say what it is or what it is, but are the coaches going with like a list of?
No, it's more getting inventory and evaluations of who our guys are, trying to know who our guys are, as best we can, and getting their thoughts and input, obviously, as part of the decision-making process.
Oh, Boone, like you've mentioned, I don't know if I'll be Yankees manager. They do, they've hired handsome guys that talk about baseball from the media to be their manager before, so I'm not saying I'm out of the running, but two teams you just mentioned, the Phillies.
I mean, Casey.
Phillies last year, and the Braves in 21. Phillies brought in Syndergaard, Robertson, Brandon Marsh. The Atlanta Braves famously brought in 4 outfielders. So while those teams were kind of lugging through the baseball season and what it can be, they, I don't know. Next time I saw Cash in the hallway, I'd give him, I don't know, not a little shoulder, but I'd give him a little bit, Booney. The team needs a little bit, man.
Yeah. We also, we got a couple of in-house big pieces on the horizon too, you might say. So,
one. He's pretty fucking big, but you got one.
What about Nestor? What about Loizaga? Like those are.
Nestor's great. He's not a game changer. The starting pitching hasn't been a terrible problem because the rest of the staff has been here and there. I don't think this season we're going to be like the starting pitching it's the offense. Nestor helps an area of okay, like you're good. Like Loizaga helps the bullpen, which needs help right now. The offense is the 27th ranked offense in MLB. Like that's where we need some help.
Yeah, I think Judge will help that a little bit.
What's up? What's up, man? And if I realize we've done a lot of this, and I bet there's some holdups on Judge's side that obviously will come out in Brian Hoke's book in 8 years or whatever. But like, what?
No, he churns those out quick.
He does churn those books out. What's the Judge? Because Boone, it's all silent on the Western Front. We don't know what's up with the toe. He comes out, he puts on a batting practice, and then he's in the outfield, and then he's doing live at bats. Like, give us a little more than we don't know about the toe.
Yeah, I don't have more other than it's getting close. It's getting close. He's doing pretty well. Like the running progression that he's going through is, he's able to do a lot more than even he was a week ago where he was moving in a really good direction. So I don't have the date for you. I just know I feel like it's getting close.
It was a debate on the broadcast booth between Nelson, Meredith, and Flaherty. They were just joking about a rehab stint to get in there. And I think Nelly was like, no, it'll just be simulated games. And then in the end, they said it's probably whatever Judge wants to do. Is that the situation? Like, does he get to make the call if he wants to go take 3 games at Scranton or Somerset?
Well, I mean, he'll be certainly a big part of that conversation. So we'll just see how it unfolds. Like, are we able to do simulated games? Is there, when he's starting to do that? Because you do want to replicate him, getting out there and, for 2.5 hours, of, especially when a lot of this time he hasn't been able to kind of hold that workload. So it's like, when you've been out and for part of that, you haven't been able to do much on the foot at all. It's hard to say, all right, I'm healthy now, go run a marathon tonight. There's a level of training and bandwidth that you got to build up with that. So, and Aaron will certainly be a big part of that. But, the big thing will be building them up and getting some simulations to where, his body can make that adjustment.
And when he is finally comes off the IL, will him and Stanton, with Stanton playing the outfield more now, be splitting DH and outfield? Or is the goal to have Judge come back right field?
Yeah.
And that's all.
I would imagine when he comes back, I'll use the DH with him a decent amount. And then hopefully, that first week, 2 weeks, start to then, obviously have him out there more as he gets better and better, hopefully. But we'll see. I mean, it's hard to answer that right now, but I expect when he comes back that, the DH will be in play a fair amount.
Like,
all right.
Maybe July 25th against the Mets. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, if you guys are going to win at a 60% clip, once Judge comes back, you only need to win one more game before July 25th to finish at 90 wins, which I think gets you a wild card. That's my algorithm.
Wow. All right.
Send that up the chain.
I can send that over if you guys want it.
No. I mean, that's the thing. I don't look at, we got to win. We got, we got Sandoval and the Angels tonight with Domingo going. It's like, you can't get ahead.
As a fan, all we do is reflect on the game before and worry about or celebrate what happened, everything. And then the first pitch happens tonight, and then that all gets washed away, and the next wave of emotions come, and we ride that out to the next game. So right now, we're just on a shitty wave.
I hear you.
All right. Thank
you. Keep on fighting, boys. Keep on fighting the good fight.
Appreciate it. Let's have a happy chat next week. That'd be fun.
Oh, amen.
I'll put it on the schedule.
Bantering with Boone was brought to you by Vizio. Jimmy, how you doing, man? We were doing a little post game with our crew, and we normally do a little post game here. So let's. How are you doing?
The Vizio stands for Very Important Zero Information Observed.
You love a good abbreviation.
Acronym.
You love acronyms more than me.
I love a good abbreviation too.
Yeah, not as much as me. I can abbreviate anything.
Yeah, well, not as much as the Australians can.
Okay, challenge accepted. Go.
I'm not Australian anymore. I don't know, man. I mean, that's they're truly not worried. It's not a front. I really wanted to let them know they don't really control their own destiny, like he keeps saying, because they continue to lose, and they can jump. Like, usually you say that when you have enough games against that team to beat them. But if you need other teams to help you out and beat the Rays, then you're not controlling your own destiny. You need help. They can sweep the Rays the rest of the season, still be 3 games back in the division. They can sweep the Orioles. They have 3 games left, 1 series, the rest of the season, and still be 4 games behind them in the standings. So, like, the division's out unless 2 teams ahead of you collapse.
Well, the division's been out. I
understand that, but I also wanted to kind of get him into that to let him know, like, we aspiring for the wild card's bullshit, dude.
Right.
If you're telling me the season is not a failure because we're aspiring for the wild card, well, no, you just failed level 1, and now you're on the backup plan, and there's just no sense of that at all. Like, him at least saying, like, well, we're just trying to get in the playoffs. No, that means you failed, and now you're just trying to not fuck up your backup plan. This team's goal was to win the division. They have failed to achieve that goal.
Yeah. I mean, I guess on my end, because, in these episodes, that's when the fan base wants us to tap into our WFAN as much as we can. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess what's my ideal answer? Like, if I'm the manager of the Yankees, I would be saying we really put ourselves in an awful position for the division. we got to do our best, play our best baseball, and hope some other things go right divisionally. Otherwise, either way, we need to play better baseball and get ourselves positioned for the wild card. That's
better.
It's not bad, right? But
that was, I mean,
I still don't think we walk away elated with that answer. I don't think there's like a win.
I'm not
answer.
asking for him to throw the towel on the season. I'm just asking for them as a collective to show some sense of, we sell ourselves as championship or bust. Right. And our brand is it's championship or bust, and win the division and be the best, and everything matters. And we have not achieved the main goal, but the only way we can make up for that now is to get into that wild card spot and get the job done. So it's the same sense, but there's just a tone of, why are you guys worrying?
Right.
You're just being silly fans. Stop worrying. That's the tone.
There's a tone of arrogance to the 50 and 45 Yankees that we're wrong. And it's like, no, guys, you screwed up.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you to get rid of Donaldson and bring up Peraza forever. It's 2-game sample, but we got a guy who cares.
Right. And I think
literally the care factor, at least the perceived care factor, I should be careful with my wording here, flipped a lot.
Well,
grinding out at bats.
So Jim, we do know some stuff. Well, we know what we know, and we know what we don't know. Thanks, Jake. And I was trying to get him because we know that the Yankees they come up with the lineup together, and Boone has some powers amongst that lineup that he can flex in and out. That I was wondering if Peraza leadoff was a message from him. When I originally saw the lineup yesterday, I thought the Peraza leadoff. Could have been the front office trying to show him off for 2 weeks before the trade deadline. I thought it could have been a message from Boone, like, hey, we have this guy, let's lead him off now. This is how good he is. But at the same time, we all know, and even on these episodes and off of these episodes, Boone was all in on Donaldson. So it wasn't. From Yankee fans, we've been skeptical of Donaldson only because his performance with the Yankees has been 50% less than what he's done at any other point of his career. And that we wanted to see Peraza because he's young, talented, and different than what we've been seeing. That, I don't know, I guess I was kind of hoping to get a little more out of him with his eyes that, like, yeah, man, Peraza's here. I want to play that guy because we need help. And I guess he gave a little bit of that with, like, I was looking for a spark. But
no, dude, he insulted Peraza. He countered you saying the best at bats I've seen, and Boone countered that by saying those are the best at bats I've seen by Peraza ever.
Yeah,
basically, like, yeah, that was surprising. That's not who he is. That's how he kind of flipped that on you, which is like because you said his best at bats by any Yankee, and he's like, "This is the best at bats I've ever seen by him." A little shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's
they don't like him.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That's what we'll find out because he now has a 32-game sample with a 400 on base, and it's looked better. It
felt very good to let him know the bullpen's not good anymore.
Yeah,
and he cannot continue to just say the bullpen's been good. They're now 16th in WAR.
Right.
They were top 5 after June. Plummeted.
Yeah. Jim, the rest of this post game is brought to you by Harry's. Harry's has you covered for the best shave of your life at a price you love. I shaved this morning. Needed it.
I shaved the other day before I came to work.
I was going to grow out, we've got a big warehouse thing coming, and sometimes I bust out my famous facial hair for that, but I realized I had a wedding this weekend, so that's out, and I do need 4 weeks to grow my facial hair. And I just look better.
Should I go mustache? In 2021, I went mustache when the Yankees were really, really awful, and then they won 10 in a row.
Jim, you know my answer to if you should have a mustache. It's always the same. The button is always the same for me.
I'm looking at myself right now, and I kind of like the way my beard looks a lot, so it's tough. If it was like real scraggly and ugly, maybe then I'd go mustache.
You do
it was
look
in a
good
spot
right
you
now.
weren't proud of.
You do look good right
it'd be
now.
An easier choice for you.
And part of that is because of Harry's and their starter set. It's $13. Okay, you've got that. There was a time early Talkin Yanks that was about my max. Their $13 value set, you can get it for $3 at harrys.com/Yanks. Harrys.com/Yanks. 5-play German engineered. Ooh. Get their starter set. Try them out. Harrys.com/Yanks. Check out the link in the description. Yeah, the bullpen thing. We've been on this a lot of different ways. It's crazy that 4 games in, that the bullpen was like completely taxed, and I some of the previous management, and I've been on the King usage. Innings matter, and we've been on this, and we'll add it to our analytics binder. That like Nick Ramirez, who by the way he did actually give a great effort last night. Like Nick Ramirez isn't the problem in this, but at the same time, when your season
losing games with the last guy in the bullpen,
right? He's
the fact that he was basically the only choice.
He was the option. And Nick Ramirez, although he's put up some nice numbers this season, he is the last guy in the bullpen. If Jonathan Loaizaga, like Boone mentioned tomorrow, was called up, he'd be out. So now you're taking a guy that wouldn't be on the roster, and you're putting him in a game-deciding situation. And what you noted properly, and it's actually a really cool thing that baseball needs to tap into more. These 2 weeks matter so much. You heard it in K calling the game. When we do Talkin' Baseball and these teams deciding their season, these 2.5 weeks matter so much. It's awesome.
Ohtani's bat flip is because we're in this 2 weeks span.
What do you think that was?
He doesn't want to get traded, man.
You think so?
He's saying, let's fucking just win.
I think there's more than that. I think his agent is in his ear a little bit. Like he had a couple quotes recently. I think he's putting on a little more of a show.
I think he likes being against the Yankees too.
I think so. I think that is
game tying home run too. It was cool.
It was a huge home.
It was cool. I think there are layers to it, and I just don't know which percentages of the pie chart, if you will.
So, what is high leverage situation? Would you consider the 6th inning with a 1-run lead high leverage? Or is it 7, 8, 9? Because for me, it's 7, 8, 9.
There have been high leverage 6th innings.
I think there can be a high leverage 6th inning. Like you can lose a game in the 6th pretty easily.
6th inning Yankees throwback.
So I guess what does Baseball Reference consider high leverage? I don't even know.
I would guess they go to 7, 8, 9. But
so Ramirez has 5 appearances in high leverage. This is going to be a different calculation than his splits because I don't know what they do. But his last night was high leverage, bottom 9th tie game, or that was a 7. Is that last night? I'm so confused. Bottom 11th with a 2-run lead. 6th inning 2-run lead. That's not high leverage, is it?
6th inning 2-run lead. Only if like bases loaded or something.
Well, they were. He loaded them. Can you put yourself in high leverage and you get points for it?
I wouldn't give points for that.
Well, Nick Ramirez in high leverage situation. However, Baseball Reference calculates it 941 OPS, 353 batting average against. They have him in 8 games.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Like eye tests matter. Like we've had a couple Ian Hamilton discussions the past couple episodes because he passed the eye test for me pretty early on, but it was lower leverage, and I referenced that Tampa appearance a couple times. Like the story
he did not pass for me.
I know, and that's it's still a conversation point for us, but I think it's a good thing because he's still working his way back, but he had a nice appearance the other day. His stuff passes the eye test, where Ramirez it does not, and this.
Wait, hold on. Whose stuff passes the eye test? I thought you were talking
Hamilton.
about Ramirez.
No.
Oh, Hamilton stuff passes the eye test. I like Hamilton. I never had him in fully trust this guy, but I liked him in the lower spot. Ramirez, sorry. Ramirez is who we agree on.
That's why I'm comparing these two entities. Ian Hamilton.
Ramirez is lefty Weiser.
Not even.
Similar. That's sweepers. Just like.
It's just he's like a 1990s lefty reliever. He's pumping 88. Like I do what the other team doesn't want you to do, and the other team doesn't mind Nick Ramirez being in the game. Where I think Ian Hamilton, they're kind of like, ooh, what's this? This guy's scary, and he throws a pitch we don't see, and so I don't know. These 2.5 weeks do matter more. I'm going to petition to MLB when we get friendlier with them that they need to make more of it because
they just call it like make or break July. We can come up with something better.
Yeah, we'll work on it. But it's awesome. It's awesome that these games dictate your season more. You heard it in Kay's voice that going down with Nick Ramirez a couple times recently. That is a really tough pill to swallow when if five
he did have a voice like I know.
Yeah. And that's where we sometimes jump in to defend Boone, where people are like, whoa, but if Efros, Loizaga, or Trevino were around, Jimmy Cordero, it wouldn't have been him. But it was, and yeah, I don't know. In classic Yankee fashion, I guess they win tonight, and then they'll probably lose in devastating fashion on record day.
Sign me up.
That's been the pattern. Fire me up.
All right, that's the end of this episode. Go Yanks, telegrams. Or maybe we're doing the next segment next. I don't know BBD's order.
Go Yankees.
Because now we're going to do the other one.
Yep. And now we're going to record the first half that you already listened to at home.
Are those questions?
Yeah, there's like one of those 90s travel trivia questions.
Those are such a fun flip.
That's
what Iowa farm boy became a famous movie actor? Hint, he was known as
Ashton
Duke.
Kutcher.
Wrong.
I'm right.